Is anybody there yet? Are we live yet? I'm not sure if we're live yet. I don't see anyone. I'm looking to see if anybody's coming on board. They're not. Well, I guess we need to get started anyway. Hello, everybody. This is Timothy Painter coming to you from Denver, Colorado. Hey, we have some people. Camper Goer 1, hello. Thank you for being my moderator. I really appreciate it. And thank you for taking care of that young person in your life. I really, really admire you for doing that. We have some news and murder suspects of the couple that were killed in Canada. And it turns out, tragically, that both suspects are dead. And we don't know why. Presumably they committed suicide, but it's unknown. One of the youths who committed these heinous crimes claimed that he was going to go out in a blaze of glory. So it's really sad that they took so many lives in their process. I think young people often are very, very confused about what is going on in their lives and what makes a good person and what makes a fulfilling life. And obviously these two youths were making some very difficult decisions, some very tragic decisions. And my heart goes out to the families of those who were murdered along the way. It's just a horrible thing. Also, we have news from the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. Bob has been given a grant of $10,000 by apparently a fairly affluent person, and they're going to gift out $9,000, which I thought was a little odd because why are they retaining $1,000 anyway? That doesn't make any sense. When they talked about having their nonprofit, they were not going to retain money and they were going to make sure to gift out the majority of the money. But the good news is that they are going to grant $9,000 to a needy person. Now that's not going to be most of us. Most of us are not that needy. They really want people who are really, really needy. And if you're not just in dire straits, you'll never qualify for their money. The grant money is not to get somebody set up and send them out into the wild. The grant money is for somebody who is out there and doesn't have a reserve fund and something's happened and they really, really need the money. And they give an example for the grant money as a person who had just gotten a job, so presumably he could repay the money, and then his brakes went out and he needed the money to fix his vehicle so he could go to the job. And I think that's admirable. I think getting people to who are going to repay the money is a good thing. And they also made it really clear that you could qualify for this money even if you couldn't repay it. So if you are really, really down and out and having a rough time as a nomad, you could still win a grant. The grants are going to be as large as $1,500, then there are going to be some smaller grants, and nothing is set in stone. So if they find a compelling case, they can use the money however they feel. And I think all of that is very wise. I think they're making really good decisions as far as that goes. And it's good to see how finally handing out some money. Everybody, of course, when you form a nonprofit, everybody suspects that the nonprofit will really be used for nefarious purposes. And Bob is proving that he's living true to what he said he would do. He is handing out money to people who are in desperate condition. So that's a good thing. This week has been a really tough week. We had 2 shootings within 24 hours with 14 hours of each other. And I think it underscores the reason why so many of us are out there in the first place. We just don't want to live in a society that's so full of anger and hate. What's going on with these people anyway? I'm in Denver, Colorado right now, and I'm regretting being in Denver, Colorado. It is horrible, Camper Goer 1. It's just beyond belief. And I finally reached a point in my life in which I decided I don't want to participate in it anymore. I don't want to be part of the rage and the anger and the insanity that's going on. And as a result, I am out living in my van. Now, sometimes that means I have to live in my van in urban centers. And right now I am at a place called El Sabor Mi Tierra. It's a Salvadorian restaurant, tremendous food. And if you have the chance to come to Denver, be sure to stop at El Sabor de Mi Tierra. Go Fugle is here, and I'm sorry your message came across so quickly. I saw hello, and that's all I got. I got to keep putting these darn glasses down. Maybe I ought to just wear them. I hate wearing glasses. Isn't so much of life the things that we have to do, and part of the van life is finally doing some of the things that we want to do. Go Frugal. Hey, I love that. That's a really cool name. Go Frugal. And you spell it G-E-A-U-X, frugal. That is really cool. Somebody comes up with a kind of an innovative way of saying go frugal. And what a great theme for tonight. No, how to live in a frugal manner. Something that's really been on my mind is thinking about all the people that go camping or go van dwelling, and instead of going out there and living a frugal life, they shooting focus off of Epstein. Well, that's certainly true. So my point is that at some point we have to learn how to go with less. Less is more. Camper Goer 1 says, I think the Gov should have a hotline for family, friends, and others to be able to call if they feel somebody they know. Wow, is that a great idea? The idea is that we would have a hotline, and if you think somebody that you know is unstable, you can call that hotline. And the problem is when people become unstable, they're not going to call for help. Do you think an unstable, a mentally unbalanced person, somebody who might be suicidal or somebody who might be homicidal, do you think they're going to call for help? Suicide hotline, do you think that guy's really going to call for help? If he's sane enough to call for help, probably he's not suicidal. He's maybe thinking about becoming suicidal, but he or she is not probably suicidal. So if we have a hotline that we could call and say, hey, look, I know this person is having a hard time. Let's do something. Go Frugal says, I don't go with less, I go with less expensive. Well, there's something to be said for that. Good evening, Peaches. Oh, Pete Gotcha, sorry, good evening. I'm going to get your names right, guys. It's just taking a little effort here. But good evening. The theme, we're talking about several things tonight. We're talking about the shootings. We're talking about how to go in a more simple way, what van dwelling is really all about. And we're talking about mental illness and what do people who are unstable do, and how do we help those people. Lots of luck. And of course, these are all big problems that we hope that we can solve. And so far, society has not found a solution for any of these things. But we can all postulate and we can all suggest. And so another message: the only way to stop shooting is to allow people to carry. Well, that's a big debate. Getting into the should you carry a gun, there were people, I believe, who maybe were carrying guns and weren't able to stop these shootings. And I don't think the shooters are afraid of getting shot. I think they're prepared. They're committing suicide. The youth that was arrested and survived the shooting probably knew going into the thing that he was going to get the death penalty. After all, it's Texas. They've been executing more people than anyone. So I don't think having a gun will necessarily prevent the shootings. I think the shootings are going to happen anyway. I think in order to prevent the shootings, we need to get to the people that are distressed and see if we can make some sense with them. And what Camper Goer was suggesting is if you know that somebody is distressed, you should say something. And of course, we're all afraid of our government, and we're all afraid of saying something because we're afraid that what we say might be misconstrued, and then the government comes in and with a heavy hand, and then what do? It's a very, very difficult situation. But on the other hand, if somebody knew either one of these shooters in advance and could have said something, if somebody would have known the Columbine shooters that happened here in Denver, Colorado, it would have helped. A lot of times, the vast majority are those loners and keep to themselves. And I think they confide too. I think usually confide in somebody, but not always. And I'm one of these things before they happen, and we've done something. We're not going to be able to catch everyone, and some of them are so loners that you'll never be able to catch them. But I'm sure that some of these shooters, some of these people who go on their little sprees, do confide. And for example, these two kids that are now deceased, that shot the guy in Canada, the guy and his girlfriend in Canada, they were confiding in each other. So I think sometimes people do confide, and the point is, if there's any way that we could report them, or what's the other solution? What other solutions are we going to have? I don't think getting rid of guns is really the solution. And getting rid of the assault rifles, I'm not sure is really a solution. But people who know them personally usually know if they have a dark side. Yeah. And I think the father of the one boy knew that he was very troubled, and maybe didn't alert the authorities soon enough. I think he started talking with authorities after the kids disappeared and after they started killing people. At least we can put to death this history of the disappearing on that highway. This is not some other serial killer out there. It turns out to be two very, very disturbed young men who did this and went on a murder spree and killed several people before is not telling us how they ended up dead. And kudos to Dave for breaking the story. He's got his feelers out. So Camo Dave, you get heads up from me for today. Even though you're not covering me, Camo Dave, I don't know what your problem is, but I think you at least get credit for breaking the story and staying on top of the story. So what is the solution? Well, I don't have any magic ball. I don't have any magic potion. My solution is to get into an Astrovan and get the hell out of here and get away from those people. But strangely enough, I could easily have been in El Paso during this last week. There's no reason to sell automatic firearms. I don't think that there certainly is no reason to sell machine guns. Although a lot of people are confused about the Constitution. The Constitution allowed people to bear arms to protect themselves from their government, not to go hunting. And I think that still applies today. I think there are some countries in which people are unable to raise arms and they're unable to protect themselves from an abusive government. I'm not saying that that is a good solution for the United States of America. In fact, I think it's a horrible solution. Go Frugal says, a good thing they didn't use truck bombs. I think if you take their arms away, all they're going to do is use truck bombs, or they're going to use their vehicles to mow people down. If they really want to kill you, they're going to get you. And I'm not a gun advocate, don't misunderstand me. Kemper Gore 1 says that he carries and he would have shot them immediately. I heard that there was a guy that was carrying. There was a Marine or a soldier who was carrying and wasn't able to prevent this. The problem is, how do you prevent it? It's very, very difficult to prevent. Sure, if I was right there and the guy pulls out a rifle and I'm carrying, I can take the risk of shooting the wrong guy. What if he was just taking his rifle in to be serviced? And I could shoot the guy. And I suppose if everybody in the whole world had a sidearm, maybe that we would be able to prevent this and that way. But the problem is, most of us don't want to carry a sidearm. And in my case, I don't want to live in a society in which I need to carry a sidearm. I don't want to be out there with those kinds of fruitcakes. And I was saying also, I'm very, very lucky that I wasn't down there, because I'm planning a trip to Texas and I might have gone right through El Paso. I've been through there a number of times, and I could have easily been at that Walmart. I'm often at Walmarts. So I feel really lucky that I didn't get involved. And I'm wondering, at what point am I going to be involved in one of these as a victim? Walmart in Goodyear, Arizona has an armed police officer. Yeah. Do you think an armed police officer could have stopped this? I have guns and I hate guns. You are not going to prevent it if you can stop it if armed. If you're right there and the guy has a rifle, I think, hello, leisure, hello. I think if you're sitting right there, maybe you could stop it. But I don't think that you could have stopped it, even if you were an armed guard in Walmart. The guy would have shot some people before you ever would have gotten your gun out of your holster. Again, how do you know the guy's not bringing a toy gun in? Or how do you know that the gun isn't being brought in for service somewhere? And so you're going to whip out your gun and you're going to blow him away, and then you're going to go away for first-degree murder or second-degree murder. I don't think it's as simple as everybody just strapping on a sidearm and stopping these things before they start. I think we need to stop them long before then. We need to get to the source. We need to start working on the people that are having these issues. Part of it is society and what's going on in society. Part of it is the reason why I'm leaving Denver, Colorado, and trying to get to the mountains and trying to get out in the countryside, because I'm so tired of all the anger you off, or somebody follows you for a long time, or people cut you off in traffic. It's just the guy was shooting in the parking lot before he got into the store. Yeah, that's what I heard too. And so what good would it have done to have a guard from Walmart? He's in Walmart. He's probably not in the parking lot patrolling the parking lot. And do you guys really think that we should come to a point in which we have armed guards everywhere? Because I've been to Mexico, and I can tell you it's disconcerting when you walk down the street and you have these military guys with automatic weapons. Some of them have automatic weapons, and some of them have semi-automatic weapons, standing in their Jeeps, watching the people walk by with things over their faces so you can't tell who they are. And it's very disconcerting to have that kind of police presence, and that's really not even police presence, that's military presence, when you're just out to buy a Coke or go shopping or to see the city. Who wants to live in a city that is guarded like that? How unpleasant can it be? Mexico has automatic armed guys. Yep. Luby's Cafeteria had customer guns in their cars, and I couldn't read the rest of it, and I got hair in my eye again. It was Tim Painter. Hey, by the way, guys, I got a surprise coming for you very soon. I bought some special equipment, and I'm going to take drastic action and cut my bed of power here shortly. I'm thinking about cutting it all off or most of it off. I haven't really decided, but it's coming. Walmarts have security guards patrolling the parking lot and one inside. I don't think they are necessarily that well trained. Yeah, how would you like to have a guy who doesn't really have a lot of experience as a security guard carrying a weapon? It would be scary as hell. I used to have a security guard. I ran a bar for a while. Should I cut it off on camera? Leisure said I should cut it off on camera. Maybe I should. An armed society is more polite, Go Frugal says. Well, maybe it is more polite because of the force. Do you really want a society that's more polite because of force? Or do you want a more polite society because we're nicer people, because we're not all so stressed, because we're not all so frustrated by the other guy, because we're nicer? Or do you want a nicer society because, wow, if I make that guy mad, he might pull out a gun and shoot me? Which way do you want to live? I don't want to live in a place in which everybody's carrying guns and maybe they're going to blow my brains out. There's a place here in Denver, Colorado that serves food, and the owner, the proprietor, has an open carry, and I don't do business with him. I don't go to his restaurant. I quit going when I saw that gun. He also has an explosive temper, and I know, I can't really tell you how I know, but he has an explosive temper. Hell, I don't want to be anywhere near that guy. Who knows what he could do with his gun and all his extra power. Fry's grocery store in Arizona have young guards without any weapon. I seen one on the phone the other day. Both shooting are false flags. Well, I think it all is a false flag, and it's an indication to me that it's time to get out of Colorado, and it's time to get out of the big cities, and it's time to get away from the fruitcakes. I was being nice to say my wife sold my life savings. I didn't quite get the gist behind that. Forgive me. Uh, uh, and on my own thoughts, I was having that very discussion today with somebody about a domestic partner absconding with the funds of the relationship. I got to open the door. It is just blistering hot in here. Um, yes, pretty much every store here has security guards. Well, so I'm glad they have security guards, and I think it's good that there are security guards. I still don't think a security guard in Walmart would have been able to stop this guy from starting shooting in his parking lot, in the parking lot. I don't think it would have really changed the outcome. Maybe the death toll would have gone down, but I'm not sure. We've had armed people. We had a sheriff, I think it was in the Florida shooting, who was armed, who ran away because he knew he was way outgunned, and he didn't have the balls to go in and do what he should have done. Oops. I can tell that thing's going to be here, so I'm going to shut it. So, is there an easy solution to this gun thing? Is there an easy solution to the violence? Is there an easy solution to somebody who is suicidal or homicidal? And I think the answer is no. Concealed carry criminals do. The witness said there were 4 men dressed in black. What I say is I don't want to live in that kind of society. I want to get out of a place that is so angry and so frustrated and so nasty to each other that I don't want to be part of it anymore. And that's kind of the conclusion I've decided. Debbie Anderson says, hello, Timothy. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for sharing. Well, thank you. Thank you. It's really nice of you guys to be part of this and to give me your points of view. I think all points of view count, and I'm certainly not the guy to say your point of view is right or wrong, but I think everybody sharing their points of view in a nice, orderly fashion is really what democracy is all about. And it isn't that we all have to agree with each other on everybody's point of view. It's that everybody gets a right to put in their point of view, and maybe at some point we can build a consensus. And building consensus is hard. Big cities are frightening, always have to be aware. And that's so true. I have to be on my alert at all times when I'm in a big city. I always have to be watching, and I'm not afraid of somebody pulling out a gun, but you never know. It has happened. And I wouldn't say that there are really scary places in Denver. There are places that I wouldn't go at night in Denver, but the whole city, no matter where you go, is angry. Everybody is angry. And the worst times are when it's snowing or when the weather is not the best, or if it's hot. Boy, when things get hot, people really go crazy. So you always have to be careful of the next guy. And road rage is very common. It's just crazy. We've gotten to be too big. I'm not sure that in the scheme of things God ever intended for man to be this dominant on earth. And smaller societies, in my point of view, would have done just as well as these large societies. And then we have all this crazy. My town, it didn't work. You know what? Getting angry at your brother doesn't work. Getting angry at your sister doesn't work. And I'm speaking in a broad sense. Getting angry at the other person doesn't work. Yelling at somebody doesn't work. Pulling out a pistol or a club or anything doesn't work. Violence doesn't work. You have to figure out how to resolve your differences without doing all of those things. And when you find somebody who is at risk, I think it's your obligation, it's my own personal belief, it's your obligation to say something. When you know somebody is exploding and they're losing control, and then you need to say something. I want to leave where I am because of bad crime. I'm tired. Oh, wow. Small town, less traffic. Well, that's for sure. What I found out in my road trip to the West Coast is that people were seemingly a lot less angry. We had a few road rage incidents where me as a tourist driving slowly, people would zoom around me across the yellow line. And I'm the kind of guy, I'm a pullover guy. When I'm driving down the highway and I get 2 or 3 cars behind me, it doesn't have to be 20 cars, 2 or 3 cars, I pull over because I don't want that guy to have to be going slow because of me, and I want to go slow. I want to see what there is to see. So I'm thoughtful of the guy behind me. And I remember when I was a young buck and everything had to be done tomorrow, and I had to get things done right away, and I used to get so frustrated at traffic that slowed me down, and I never want to be that kind of traffic. So some of you, I think the consensus so far from the comments I've seen is smaller towns are better. Being proactive is better. I do like you tailgate, I pull. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. But smaller towns are better. And being proactive when you know people are really out of whack and are having troubles, then you try to get that person help. And it doesn't mean I'm putting my nose in other people's lives constantly. It just means that I'm on the alert. I listen to people's stories, and when they indicate that they're really in trouble, I try to give them ideas of where they can go to get help. And if I haven't ever met a person, because we don't need any more of these shootings. And I think I can do more by reporting that person than any Walmart guard or any concealed carry guy can, or even any open carry guy can. Unless you're there, right there with your weapon, you're not going to be able to have any effect. And especially you've got a pistol and the guy's got a rifle and you're a long ways away. Oh, and Go Frugal says he pulls aside. And that's the thing to do. If you're in heavy traffic, go do your heavy traffic. At least everyone knows everybody's business in a small town, and that's true. I grew up in a small town, and we knew everything that went on with everybody. We knew who was sleeping with who, and we knew who was doing what to who, and in some sense, that's a good thing, that we can all be kind of watching each other's backs. It doesn't mean we have to be spying. I'm not here to spy on anybody. It's just that if you tell me you're going to go shoot up the saloon or you're going to go kill somebody, then I would report you. So don't tell me that you're going to do that, because I would report you. And I generally favor not reporting. I'm not the kind of guy that goes around and narking on people morning, noon, and night. But if somebody said to me, man, I'm hearing voices from God and I need to go down and blow these people away, I would do something. I bought 11.5 gallons of fuel for 17 miles. I'm getting a lot of messages, guys. And I wish I could keep up with them. One day we'll have a whole production outfit and we can do better here. Hello, just found the live. Love and hugs from me and hubby, Australia. Oh, hello, Australia. One day I want to go to Australia, and I've heard they have the cutest campers in Australia, and they have camper parks. I lease my house out to guys from Australia every year, and they tell me about it. RV Davey is threatening to kidnap me and slaughter me, burn my house down. Well, I need to have a chat with RV Davey. I think RV Davey is a character, and I'm sure he didn't say those things, but if he did, I'm sure he said them with a grain of salt. Of course, if you meet somebody who's really serious about doing harm to others, you have an obligation to do something. And at the same time, we all kind of have an obligation to keep our noses out of everybody, keep our noses out of everybody else's business to the best extent we can. But there's a line, and if you cross that line, if you say, hey, God's talking to me and I've got to eradicate a bunch of humans, then we need to do something about it. And that's all I'm saying. Guys, I want to tell you all how much I appreciate you tuning in and having fun with me and giving me ideas. I'm a guy who could use a lot of ideas. Wow. Well, if you feel that he really was crazy, then you should file a police report. I think if I started espousing crazy ideas out here, we're going to go get him and we're going to do these things, then you should report me. I think that we all must follow our conscience. What we lack right now in America is conscience. We lack the sense of responsibility and of being one and understanding where our place is in society. And thank God that somebody has conscience, that something bothers their conscience so much that they're willing to take action. The worst thing that could happen in any society is we say, hey, it doesn't bother me, not my problem. Yes, I'm in Colorado. Well, that's not right. People shouldn't be giving out phone numbers, and people need to respect each other. And if they're not, then that's what they get. Carolyn's RV life had a terrible time with a certain person. And, Holly, I don't feel very lucky. Holly says lucky to me that I'm in Colorado. I don't feel very lucky because I'm in the cesspool of Colorado, which is Denver. A lot of people love Denver. I'm not one of them. I used to love Denver. I don't love it anymore. It's a changed city. Since we admitted our marijuana laws, a lot of people from outside have come in, and they bring a lot of different attitudes, and some of those are road rage attitudes. Some of those are just pure anger, disrespect, just a lot of rage going on. And I want to get away from it. I want to go to a place in which I can feel peaceful and serene, and I can enjoy the thing that was given to me. Yes, Denver has its share of crime, although I wouldn't say that there are any places that you can't go, like in New York City, Commerce City, small town north of Denver. I go to Commerce City frequently, and it's really considered a suburb of Denver. And I think you're safe in Commerce City. I go there usually every Monday for a spiritual meeting. So a lot of places you can go. I heard that since the Mary Jane law they're made legal, there have been a lot of issues. I think the marijuana laws have brought a lot of undesirable people to the state, and I'm not against marijuana. If you want to smoke marijuana and blow your brains out with dope, go do it. I'm a very liberal person. I believe everybody should have their choice to do what they want to do. Hello, Apple, is what Camper Goer one says. But I do think that there has been some fallout from the marijuana, and I think Go Frugal says he was based there as a trucker, so he knows Denver, Colorado too. It's a good place, and for the right people, it's a great place. I'm not the right people anymore. Fort Collins, love to go to Fort Collins. I have mountains which I consider a little more spectacular, although Fort Collins isn't far from Estes Park, some of the most spectacular mountains in all of the nation. So a very beautiful area, and Fort Collins is a wonderful place to go. And Denver is a great place to go. If you're in business and you're trying to make money and you're in the hustle, this is a great place to be. It's a lot better than a lot of places, a lot of cities. But it's at the same time, it's gotten to be awfully angry and awfully frustrating. Traffic here is just insane. You got to plan on an extra 30 minutes to go everywhere that you used to go, and whatever time it was you were going before, you got to put 30 more minutes on it in Denver, and sometimes an hour in order to get where you're going. And the part I don't like is the discourtesy from one person to another and the impersonality. You would expect it in New York City, but I don't like it in Denver. Fort Collins was a cute college town. It has really exploded, but it's still a pretty cute town, a small, quaint, small town government, and a wonderful place to be. All of Colorado is a wonderful place to be. It's just not the wonderful place for me. The mountains are intense in Colorado, and the winters in Colorado are really, really insane. This is my problem in the winter. The roads are just treacherous. I live across the hill, across the Great Divide, and driving home is treacherous during the winter. And last year I had an accident. Was in an accident. I didn't have it. I was in it. I'm lucky to be alive, really. Go Frugal was here in 98 and 99. Those are great times to be here. I've been here since 1976. So I've been here a long time. And sometimes these are the great places in the world. It's just time to move on. And I'm ready to move on. And I can't. You know, what my frustration is, I can't move on. I keep having business interests, I keep having clients, I keep having family, I keep having social obligations that are in Denver. I've got to come back, and then you get involved in another obligation, and getting away has been so very difficult. I'm trying to cut the cords, and it's so hard. One day I'm going to do a video just about cutting the cords and just about how do you get away from all of the things that you were doing. How do you leave all those things behind? You love your family and you love your friends. How do you get away? I remember taking the Amtrak from Chicago to California when we got stuck in this terrible. And Denver, I think, is a great place compared to New York City. Of course, New York has all the culture. It's much larger, and it has its benefits. But what Denver is becoming is another tiny New York. When I say that, I'm talking about the impersonality. If you walk down the street in New York, people are going to say, "Hi, how are you?" In days in the past, in 89 and 90 in Denver, people would greet you when you walked down the street. And Go Frugal was here second grade, 76. So you're a little older than I am. Denver has changed a lot, and what I'm missing in Denver is the time when we all could walk down the street and feel perfectly safe, when people were courteous, when people treated you with respect, and that isn't here anymore. I would rather be in New York City and put up with the bustling, the hustling, and everybody minding their own business, and it's cold. They're cold to you because you're not part of their business, so they don't want to screw around with you. I went to college in Denver, Colorado, and I've been here ever since, minus a few periods. I went to Colombia, South America, for a very short period of time, and not for the great reasons that other ones went. I was never a drug dealer. I went there as a student, an exchange student. And I've been to a few other places, but not very much and not for very long. So I'm, in some senses, I'm a little innocent here because I lack the experience of traveling. And now it's my turn. I'm an old guy now. I got this long hair, and it's time for me to do a little traveling. Well, guys, I need to kind of move along. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Hello, John Chucker. I've been wondering where you've been hiding. So I think I need to kind of move along. I wanted to thank all of you for tuning in, and you really make my day. You know, knowing that I have a connection in so many different places really means a lot to me. And Debbie Anderson, try not to be so hard on yourself. It means you love people and have a good heart. People will understand. Well, thank you. I think you know my heart maybe better than I do. All right, guys, Apple Knucker says, good night, my friends. We'll see you all soon. I'm 51. You are older. Yep, I'm older than you. Go Frugal. Good to see you again, Tim. See you soon. Be well, my friend. Camper Goer 1 says. John says, so how are you feeling today, your friend? I'm doing much better today than I was the other day. My heel is finally healing up, and I'm glad about that. It still is painful, but it's much better. Well, guys, thank you. 10 million, and till the next live feed, we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.